to be able to just make a choice on your own and just be able to speak for yourself.
This one's wife, controlling Harry. You know from my work that the narcissist seeks at least one thing, possibly four things of the prime aims. The prime aims are control, fuel, character traits, and residual benefits. It's very important for people to understand that any interaction that takes place between a narcissist and somebody else, which can include other narcissists, by the way, the narcissist needs at least one of those things. Thus, the narcissist needs to control the other person, most likely also draw fuel from them, and possibly gain character traits and residual benefits. This one's wife is exactly the same. All the people that she interacts with must be controlled, and she seeks to do that in a variety of different ways. For instance, she attempts to control the public by creating an image of her being kind and empathic. She seeks to control the public by the releasing of PR puff pieces that make her seem like she's a living saint. She controls men directly when entering into an intimate relationship with them with lashings of spicy poontang. She will control people through malign manipulations, devaluing them by giving them silent treatment, by shouting at them, by belittling them, by invalidating them, by issuing word salads and circular conversations, by not talking to them, by walking away from them, by destroying property to provoke them, by turning on the waterworks to compel people to feel sorry for her. All of this is done as a means to get to the prime aims, to control the person or people that she's dealing with, to draw fuel from them, and thereafter, in some instances, gain those character traits and residual benefits. She does all of this instinctively. Her narcissism, like a background app, controls her thoughts, behaviours and actions to compel her to pursue the prime aims. She doesn't know that she seeks the prime aims. That knowledge is denied to her. She may well think in terms of, I need to be better known, I need to be liked. And that's part of her narcissism, allowing her to think that way for the purposes of compelling her to get to the prime aims. It causes her to have a feeling and a thought, to make her behave in a particular way, to motivate her, to galvanize her into action to pursue the prime aims. And as you can see in the thumbnail, we see another example of the way that her narcissism causes her to control Harry. Harry remains the most important person in her fuel matrix. He is the intimate partner primary source. He was promoted to that position because her narcissism identified that he was comparatively easy to control, that he provided lots of fuel, and in particular with Harry, he had sufficient character traits and huge residual benefits that really appealed to a narcissist such as this one's wife. Her narcissism has always sought to cause her to climb the greasy pole, to be a social climber, to become elevated. But even her narcissism probably wouldn't have believed how lucky she was to have ensnared Harry. She, a mediocre actress that few people had heard of, that is gaining a little bit of traction on the scene in Toronto, all of a sudden becomes internationally famous as a consequence of the man that she was dating and then she went on to marry. It enabled her to control millions of people around the world as a consequence of this new status of being the Duchess of Sussex. It enabled her to take fuel from so many people, differing sources within the fuel matrix, all linked to her elevation in society to the Duchess of Sussex because she married Harry. It enabled her to acquire character traits from so many different people because now she was able to meet all of them, be introduced to them, have access to these networks. And of course the residual benefits of gaining wealth, of gaining access to networks, of gaining a facade that could be managed. It really was the jackpot for her. If she hadn't met Harry, she'd have probably ensnared some other man, someone along the similar lines to Trevor Engels, and the world wouldn't really know about her. She perhaps would have carried on doing some acting, or if she'd found somebody sufficiently wealthy, she would have just lived off them, being a lady who lunched and being a kept woman and the world wouldn't know about her. But the only reason the world is, as you all understand, the only reason the world knows about her is because of who she married. And therefore, Harry is of huge importance to her. We've seen recently a bit of the old respite period, some of the reinstatement of the golden period for Harry, where she's praised his parenting skills and talked about what an amazing husband he is. There she's just controlling him again and the audience, controlling him through flattery, controlling the audience through a facade of, I'm a doting, adoring wife to this brilliant man. You wouldn't think that if you saw her behaviour behind closed doors, because believe me, since she's a narcissist, she will have been engaging in the sustained devaluation against Harry. Harry is her meal ticket. Although she doesn't recognise that he's the most important aspect in her life, though she might say that to dupe people, she believes she's the most important person in their partnership. But in actual fact, it's him, because of the things that he provides to her. And while she doesn't consciously recognise that, her narcissism does know this. And therefore, it causes her to need to control him on a repeated basis. To do so by flattering him, by complimenting him, by giving him the spicy poontang, by telling him off, by triangulating him, by comparing him, say, to Trevor or Corey, or to his own brother, by insulting him, by subjecting him to word salads and put-downs and circular conversations, possibly even a degree of physical violence. And we see regularly how she utilises the physical assertion of control as a means to control Harry. And as you can see in the thumbnail, there's another example of this where, as they are departing from an airport following their trip to Texas, she's steering him once again. Yes, that hand on the back, placed there to guide him. This way, Harry, like he's a toddler that doesn't know where he's going. She thinks that she's being affectionate, and she thinks that she's doing that and it shows the world that she cares, being touchy-feely. But what's really going on, and I know this because she's a narcissist, is that she's controlling Harry through physical means. We see it regularly with the grip of doom, the necessity of always holding hands with him, even though he's 39 and she's somewhere in her 40s. Behaving like a pair of teenagers. The way that she has cut in front of him. The way that she barges past him, pulling him back so she can get in front to speak to somebody. And here is another example of her physically controlling him with the hand on the back. It's condescending. It's making him seem like he's a toddler, that he doesn't know where to go, that she always has to look out for him, that she has to put his mittens on some elastic and write L and R on his Wellington boots so he knows that they go on the right feet. Here, 2 pictures captured of her at the airport, seemingly trying to show the world that she cares, but those of you in the know see it just as another example of her controlling Harry. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.